Hello everyone, and today we're going to save about $300 and change out our spark plugs for our Nissan Altima. So let's get started. And we'll go ahead and start by going and popping the hood. And then we'll work our way to the engine bay because we need to remove 3 bolts. One right there, one up top, and one all the way to the right. So let's go ahead and grab our 10mm socket and socket wrench, and let's go ahead and remove all 3 of these bolts. And they're just on there a little bit snug, but they come out pretty easy. So there's one right there, and we'll go ahead and get the second one. So there's number 2. And number 3. So now let's go and take our camera and look under this engine cover. And you're going to see right there towards the back, it's kind of pressed on this little plunger area. There's nothing to unbolt, but that's where the last of it is, where you got to kind of pull away from it. So go ahead and get on that one side, get our hand right on there, and just give it a nice little pull. And it popped right out. And I'm taking a look. Let me see if I can bring it in front of the camera. And whip around this prop rod. So you can see that little rubber bushing or grommet. That was the one thing we had to pull away from. So now let's go ahead and bring it in. We have our 4 spark plugs. And we'll start by disconnecting the initial coil connector, and that presses right down and pulls right out. And that was pretty easy, so we'll just leave that hanging right there. And now let's go ahead and grab our same 10mm socket and socket wrench. And let's go ahead and remove that one ignition coil bolt. And there we go. That came out pretty easy. So now let's go ahead and give our ignition coil a slight twist and pull outward. And that came out really easy. And looking at it, looks like it's in pretty good shape. We'll go ahead and set that aside. So now let's go ahead and pick up my camera and bring it in, and I'll see if I can do it with just the right amount of lighting. And if you look in that spark plug well, there is a little bit of dust and debris in there, so we need to clean that out before taking out the spark plug. And since I have an air compressor and a hose, I'm just going to go ahead and blow it out with my compressed air. However, if you only have a can of compressed air, that works just as well. And we'll go ahead and grab our shop cloth and give it another blowout just in case. And now we'll go ahead and grab our 14mm spark plug socket and our extension and put it right over to the spark plug and go ahead and press down. And we'll go ahead and put it on lefty-loosey. See about loosening this up. Come on. And there we go. This one was on there pretty good. And we'll continue loosening this up. It does have quite a few threads. And as you may have noticed, as I pulled it out, I kind of did an angle just to make sure it grabs the spark plug. And now let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. Let's go ahead and take it out of the socket. There we go. Then we'll go ahead and unbox the new one and compare it side by side. So there they are right here. Let's see if I can focus it just a little bit. There we go. And comparing the two side by side, they look very similar. That's a good sign. The old one does look a little bit dirty, but that's expected. Now, anytime you have any new spark plugs, it's always a good idea to check the gap. Just because you ordered it pre-gap doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be spot on. So we're going to go ahead and check it with our spark plug gap gauge. And we'll start with the smallest area, or smallest setting, and then work our way all the way around. And it should be 1.1 millimeters. And as soon as it stiffens up, that's where we stop. And looking at that, look at that. 1.1 millimeters, that's exactly what we want, so it looks like these are gapped perfectly. So we know the new one's good to go. Just for kicks, let's go ahead and check the old one. And looking at it, it actually looks like it's gapped pretty much the same, 1.1 millimeters. So overall, as far as the gaps go, the old ones compared to the new is pretty good. It's just the old ones are a little dirty. So now that we've verified the gap, we can go and install our new spark plug. Now you may have noticed I'm not adding any anti-seize to the threads of the plug. Now, if you want to, you're more than welcome to, but I'm omitting it just because the manufacturer does not recommend it, and these are really easy to change out, which I'm going to do more frequently. Anywho, all we got to do is start by hand threading these in. You want to make sure that it goes in nice and smooth so you don't cross-thread it. Then we'll grab our torque wrench, set it to 14 foot-pounds or 1/68 inch-pounds, and go and torque it to spec. Almost there, and that's right at 14 foot-pounds. And now we can go and grab our ignition coil, do a quick inspection. There's no cracks or any tears, so that's in great shape. We can go ahead and reinstall that. Put it the same way as it came out. A little twist on the very end there. Take our bolt, go ahead and start hand threading that back in. There we go. Take our 10mm socket wrench, we'll go ahead and snug it up. Very nice. Then we'll go ahead and grab our torque wrench, which is set to 1/62 inch-pounds, and we'll go ahead and torque it to spec. There we go. And lastly, we'll go ahead and reinstall our ignition coil connector and repeat the exact same steps on the rest of the spark plugs. And now that we have all the spark plugs complete, everything's downhill from here. So let's go ahead and install our engine cover, get it in position, and give it a nice little love tap. There we go. And then let's go ahead and place all of our bolts back in place. Start by hand threading them, and then we'll take our 10mm socket and socket wrench and go ahead and snug them up. So there's 2, and number 3. And of course, we'll go ahead and torque it down to 49 inch-pounds. And second one right there, last click incoming. And there we go. And of course, after every job, we always got to perform a test drive. So we went ahead and drove around for about 20 minutes at various speeds just to test this out and make sure there's no hiccups. This drove beautifully, no issues, no codes. Well, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe.